Well, hello there all you marvelous people, and welcome back to another episode of An Ecologist Plays, the channel where I get to talk about nature while playing games. Now we are back in Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, as you can see here, and we're just running to the Glade of Light to meet Nefika and Itua to find out how the RDA is messing up the ecosystem now. As you can see, we've got some viper wolves over there. They are hunting in a pack. There's another pack right over here. And they are attacking, well, they were attacking some of the hexapedes, but now they are attacking me. We're just going to keep on moving. I don't want to unnecessarily kill everything in sight. I love to see the way the animals interact with one another in the game here. Like, for example, those viper wolves hunting the hexapedes, acting like a pack. And doing what wild dogs and wolves and other animals that hunt in packs would do. Try to herd them into an area and then kill them as a group. Alright, so we are now a Kinglor Moth queen, and we're just going to follow the route to find out what on earth is wrong with the Kinglor Moths. Really a beautiful design. The wings with those vivid colors could be to, well, either indicate that she is in fact the queen, so it could be not a sexual dimorphism, but a caste dimorphism, where the queen would look different from the soldiers and the workers, from the non-reproductive individuals. But it could also be a kind of warning color. Maybe the Kinglor trees are actually poisonous, and the Kinglor moths obtain some kind of toxin from those trees that they then feed on. Interesting, the fact that the queen is responsible for guiding the other individuals of the colony to food sources, perhaps just to show them where the actual food sources are, so that they can all feed independently and bring food back for the rest of the colony, for the queen amongst others. So cool to see all the other animals walking around here as well, like the scarab crawlers over here, the hammerhead titanotheres we saw a moment ago. Interesting, I thought these trees over here are bearing the flowers on the stem of the tree, but in fact these are Kinglor flowers, which are epiphytic flowers, flowers growing on the trunk of another plant. So this is a different species, the tree over here, to the flowers that the Kinglor moths are feeding on. And interesting that the Kinglor flowers are actually growing mostly on the stem of the tree over here and not up in the canopy. The canopy does appear to be quite dense, there's not a lot of sunlight there, but down here, where it is actually more open, the plants here, the Kinglor flowers, are actually getting enough sunlight to photosynthesize and to grow and have enough energy to flower. Additionally, the Kinglor moths are quite big and most likely would struggle to actually fly amongst the dense crown over here. So they need a tree, or flowers at least, that are out in the open. And you can see the whole colony over here swarming around the flowers that are open in the open over here, not in the dense canopy at the top there. So that's quite cool. And of course the whole colony would be centered around one fertile queen, which we technically are at the moment. And the queen is looking for a new place to feed, and these RDA balloons over here with these pulses are making it very, very difficult to actually navigate and to find a suitable spot for the colony. Now, in addition to the pulses actually disorientating the queen, it is also closing the Kinglor flowers. So without the food source, the adults won't be able to feed. The young ones, the larvae, the caterpillars, are actually feeding on the plants in the understory, so they will be fine. They're feeding on leaves, but the adults need flowers in order to drink. And without it, they would die. Now, the Kinglor moths are actually quite interesting. Moths on Earth, of course, have 6 pairs of legs. The Kinglor here appear to have 10 legs. They've got 4 in the back there, and then it seems like 6 in the front. So like the typical tetrapods on Earth, the 4-legged creatures like the wildebeest and stuff like that will have 4 legs. The hexapedes here have got 6, so the antelope-like creatures and the wildebeest-like creatures and all those things, they've got 6 legs. And where insects on Earth would have 6 legs, it seems the insect-like creatures over here actually have 10. The Kinglor, one last thing about them is that they, at the back, right over there, they have a venomous stinger as well, which is unique amongst moths. Some species will pretend to have a stinger, but they don't have a functional stinger. You have that more in the order Hymenoptera rather than Lepidoptera. So wasps, bees, ants, those types of creatures, they will have stingers. Moths, nah, not so much. But the Kinglor, of course, having 10 legs, not really an insect, is it? Oh, this is interesting. That's a Thanator that we just flew past. Huh, I've never seen that one while flying around as a moth. So the Kinglor Queen is growing weak, disorientated, nowhere to feed, all the flowers are closed. And then I believe she found a Tua. Alright, now we are ready to go make a bond with an Ikran. So we're going to have to take down the balloons that are flying all over the place and causing chaos with the wildlife. And as we do so, we may be able to then have suitable spots for the Kinglor actually opening up in the forest. So let's head down south to go to the Rookery. The Rookery, of course, being the area where a lot of these Ikran will be nesting. They're resting there, they're living there. That's basically the home base of the Ikran. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. As we are making our way to the Rookery, there is something over here. I think, there we go, that's a Taju sapling that we're just going to go and grab. And while we are doing that, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much everyone for making this an incredible year, for watching the videos, for commenting, for joining the live stream, for everything you guys do. You are the most amazing community, and I am so blessed to have you all as a part thereof. Also, I do hope you have a wonderful Christmas time, a wonderful festive season, and a marvelous, marvelous new year. And I look forward to making more videos in the new year as well, and to see you in the live streams, to answer your questions, and to just have a marvelous time with all of you. So again, thank you so much. You guys are just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. As we are making our way to the Rookery, we just have to walk around these lovely creatures again. The hammerhead titanotheres over there, which we talked about previously in one of our earlier episodes. Still one of my all-time favorite creatures to encounter in the game. Oh, love them. We're almost at the Rookery. Should be just up ahead. And I do believe this is the spot. Alright, so we are off to go bond with an Ikran, and this is just a marvelously designed level where you're constantly climbing higher, trying to find the way to the top of the Ikran Rookery. I'm not going to show you the entire route though. It is fun to explore it on your own, but there are some interesting things, like for example, this plant over here, the Gateway Lily. And this is a very, very interesting planimal. Again, a plant animal that we've got here. Now, this is the main body of this Gateway Lily. And from it, it has a whole bunch of roots protruding. And at the end of some of these roots, you can find these smaller buds over here. And along these roots, you also have these smaller little buds forming here. Now, this creature is able to sense movement, because being a plant animal, it has got a nervous system that animals typically will have. And in an effort to protect itself, what happens is if it detects that there is actually a predator in the area, it retracts, and all these smaller buds also retract, and it sends a signal to the bigger one at the center over here, the bigger part of the plant. Now, what you may notice, as it retracts, it releases this puff of brightly colored pollen. Notice, poof, yellow, and then poof, poof, pink, and then the big one retracts. So these ones, this is actually a way for them to disperse their pollen. So to have their pollen go to another one of these gateway lilies. So these little bodies over here contain pollen. And the idea is that when a predator comes and disturbs it, some of that pollen that gets released will then stick to the body of the predator. And when it then goes to another one of these gateway lilies, the idea then is that some of the pollen will most likely fall off onto that gateway lily, in the process then pollinating it. Now this does use a lot of energy to actually retract like that, and the Navi, for example, the Aranehe clan, have actually learned to collect the pollen for use in their dyes without disturbing the actual body, so without letting it realize that there is actually something in the area. And carnivorous plants, for example, Venus flytraps, every time they close their trap, it uses a lot of energy. So if people keep them as pets, they very often end up dying, because we all let them catch as many flies as we can get them to catch. And every time they actually close their trap, it uses energy. So eventually, they can run out of energy. And the same there with the gateway lily. We don't want them to close the whole time. We don't want to trigger it unnecessarily. But it was keeping us from actually going to the area we wanted to go. The music is just extremely awesome. And again we have the gateway lily. So we've got the main body over there, and as it has grown, you can see it's quite big, and it has quite a large network of roots, thick roots extending all the way, and everywhere it goes, and all along there you'll have these little buds that have formed, little pollen buds. And you can see one of them has actually reached all the way up here, and as we close it, it releases this bright pink pollen. And the idea is that that main body there will not close up or will not retract unless it really has to, because it takes so much energy to actually do this. It will not retract unnecessarily. So we've already touched 2 of these final buds here, the terminal buds, but it is still closed because there is another 1 or 2 buds that we need to touch. Okay, another bud right over here. And there we go. So the third one does the trick. Now, with things like Venus flytraps, what happens is that as certain hairs are triggered, it actually creates an electrical pulse, which then results in the leaves actually closing. Listen to that music. It's so uplifting. And here we have another carnivorous plant, the rib plant. This resembles very much the feeding appendages of mussels and barnacles and all kinds of filter feeders in aquatic environments, where they will be extending these appendages to touch and to catch anything small that comes floating past. In this case, however, is a carnivorous plant that feeds on flying insects, trying to catch them, and as they catch something, this whole thing of course retracts, and then they're able to digest whatever they caught. And then it also responds to other external stimuli like us touching it to try and protect itself. So in there, it would now be digesting whatever it has caught, or in this case, it's just hiding, waiting for us to go away before unfurling again. Of course, it is carnivorous because there's not a lot of nutrients in the area where it's growing, which is basically a rock face. Not a lot of nitrogen and phosphorus for it to obtain to grow with, and so as a result, it needs to supplement it, and it does that by being carnivorous. Alright, whole bunch of Ikran over here, and there is our one. The one and only.
Now name her. She has made herself yours.
Now I'm going to go for Temek, which is the default one, the one that we start on, but I'm going to change the color slightly to this. Really such a beautiful, beautiful creature.
I think I'll call you Temek.
So Temek it is.
A newborn. It is wondrous to fly on thought alone, to touch the mind of another. Your hearts beating as one. You must secure the bond with a final act of trust.
Alright, how do we do that?
How do I...
Okay, I guess that way. Whee! It's my worst nightmare, falling off a cliff face. Yeah, so there we go. We have an Ikran, and the music soars like we soar above the Kinglor forest. So awesome.
Go faster.
This is amazing.
Let's dive.
So able to dive, pick up speed, able to change direction. Able to just do a variety of things. And of course we can also feed our Ikran. Feed it all kinds of things to replenish its energy. And as the music soars, I think this is a good spot to end today's episode. A short one, I know, But here we are. Thank you very much for everyone for joining me on our little adventure as we fly off into the sunset. Hope you have a marvelous day further, have a happy festive season, and just have an awesome time with family and friends. And until the next episode, everyone, stay safe. I'll see you all soon. Bye.